I received quite a few questions on how I light only 5 briquettes to start my low and slow, so I thought I'd put a short video together on that. Now, first of all, for me, it's easy for me because of the charcoal chimney that I use. I use a Master Forge, which is built a little bit differently than the Weber. The Master Forge is flat in the bottom. So all I do is I just put my 5 coal in the bottom, put the newspaper underneath, and I'm done. Now, if you have a Weber, they have a cone, there's a wire cone in there, so your briquettes are around the edge, and of course then your fire burns in the middle, so it's hard to get 5 briquettes lit. So what some people do is they turn it upside down, and they put their coal in the bottom, that way they're all stacked on top of each other, and then they pile the bottom, or pack the bottom with newspaper and light it, and that works. I've tried that with this already, and that works nice. The only thing I didn't like is with all that newspaper in there, you get a lot of hot embers coming out as it's burning. And if it's a windy day, then you got them embers blowing around, and if you got dry conditions, that I don't like. But that's how I light mine with a charcoal chimney. Now, I found if you're going to use wax cubes instead of newspaper, it's better to use 2 cubes than 1 in this, because one, the flame's right in the center, so it doesn't really get all the briquettes ashed over evenly. So it's better off to use 2, believe it or not. And it also takes a while for them 5 coals to get ashed over. Yeah, whether you use newspaper or the wax cubes. It takes just about as long as if you got a full chimney. That's because there's just not enough coal in there to get hot and carry that heat up through. So that's how I use the charcoal chimney. And here's another method you can use. Okay, the next method, if you don't have a charcoal chimney, is I use some lighter fluid, but I use the odorless lighter fluid. So what I do is I put them in a tray, then I wet them down real well, and the reason I put them in a tray is so once I do place them into the kettle, I don't have any lighter fluid running down the sides. Like if you put your briquettes in here and douse them real well, you have that lighter fluid dripping down in there, and that probably won't hurt anything. I mean, it's odorless, but I prefer not to do that. So I douse them in here, then I place them into the kettle and light them. Then any lighter fluid that's laying in the bottom of the pan, I just let the pan sit there, just make sure it don't blow anywhere, and that just evaporates out. Okay, now we're going to see how both method works. So what I have 5 briquettes sitting in there. Now I have 2 full sheets of newspaper underneath. Another thing I like about the Master Forge chimney is you have these big holes down here. So you can get one of those like Bic lighters in here. When I light the whole way around, so I can get that burning nice and even the whole way around it. So that works out nice, and that allows me to set my briquettes in place if they don't move. Then I can just go around the edges here and light my fire. For this, and then for the lighter fluid, and nail this. If I'm putting too much on it, good enough. And I just let this sit a minute or 2. Okay, so I'm going to let that sit a minute or 2, then I'll place them into the kettle next to the chimney and fire them both up at the same time, and we'll see which one works better, if either works better than the other. We'll find out. See how long it takes for them to ash over also. Okay, fired up the chimney. Now I'll fire up the coal. This is what I mean about these holes down here. That's nice. You can fit this right in here. Got a hole around the perimeter of that thing to light the chimney, so the paper burns nice and even underneath that coal. All right, now I'm going to set the trusty timer on the watch and see how long it takes for this for them to ash over. Here you can see the the lighter fluid briquettes. They're really going to town. Now they were sitting in that fluid, so the bottoms are wet. I only let it sit about 5 minutes till I lit it. Now I've tried in the past cooking oil. I put cooking oil, some newspaper cooking oil, and put some briquettes, 5 briquettes on there. And I tried this once before, see which one works best. And the cooking oil method, that smoked really bad, and a lot of the oil dripped down to the bottom of the kettle. And it took a lot longer for the oil-soaked newspaper to get them briquettes hashed over than it did these two methods here. Okay, I'm just about 20 minutes into this, and charcoal in the chimney and the 5 sitting by themselves are just about the same. And they're about hashed over about the same amount, so I'll dump the chimney out, see how much powder we have, see if we lost much on them briquettes, put them side by side, and we'll see how they compare. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the difference here. Right here are the ones that I had lighter fluid on. These are the ones that came out of the charcoal chimney. You can see how they're smaller, they're a little bit more ashed over, a little more powdery, so I guess we lost a little bit more in the chimney than we did with the lighter fluid. This is almost like science. Yeah, I feel like a science teacher or something. Okay, now the briquettes that were used were Kingsford Original. I use those because that's what most people use, so we can kind of compare apples to apples. Okay, and I did want to mention that a couple of minutes after I lit the coal with the lighter fluid, I did smell some lighter fluid. Even though this is odorless lighter fluid, I could smell lighter fluid, and I just stuck my nose down there a little bit and took a little bit of a sniff. I can smell a little bit of lighter fluid, so even though it's odorless, I don't know how much that'll carry into the cook once you place them on top of a pile of unlit coal for your fuel. But just so you know, I mean, try this for yourself and see what you think, and see which method you like, and see which one will work best for you. Now here's something I thought I'd show you, since I have some daylight left. And it's 40-minute mark now, and you notice the briquettes that had that lighter fluid on them, they still look the same as they did, and well, so does the ashed over from the chimney. And I put my hand over them just to see, and they both felt the heat coming off them felt about the same. Out of curiosity, we'll smack this a little bit and see how much we lose. Huh. Hey, more science. Oh, look at that. That's pretty neat. All right, they're closer to the same size now. The lighter fluid's just a little bit bigger, so there's more mass to it, so I guess they'd burn a little bit longer. They didn't burn through as much as what was in the chimney. And I thought I'd show you that, just something interested in case you were interested. Okay, I had a nice big bite of the chicken drum and a nice big bite of the sausage, and not a hint of lighter fluid taste or smell anywhere. So I would think that starting your cook off with 5 hot coal, using lighter fluid, odorless anyways, wouldn't put a taste into anything. I don't know about a regular lighter fluid. I would imagine that probably wouldn't do much anyways, with only being 5 coal. But so, in case you were curious, no taste difference and no smell at all at the end of the cook.